So that's what she said.
Really?
Yeah, seriously, that's what she said.
That's not cool.
Yeah. Hey guys, this is Brian.
Jesse?
You're watching MMA the hard way in the car. We wanted to do a midweek show because we've got more UFC happening this weekend. Obviously, Friday night, UFC's going down to Australia again. UFC on FX6. You can't complain about free UFC, man.
Not only that, basically it's almost like two for the price of one.
Yeah, then Saturday night, we got the Ultimate Fighter 16 finale at the Joint in Vegas.
Their new location.
In a new location. And so what we thought we'd do, we got a lot of guys making their debut this weekend, both Friday night and Saturday. Light heavyweights and welterweights making their debut. A lot of action. 21 fights in total, I believe.
A lot of fights.
A lot of stuff to go down, so we're going to try to hit every single one of them. And here we go.
Okay, we'll start off with the Australian thing. First, we'll start from the bottom, go up. First one is Nick Penner versus Cody Donovan. Cody's doing his debut. Nick Penner, he lost his debut, so he's going to try and come back up and get a win on his second fight.
This is a light heavy.
Yeah.
Light heavyweight debut, huh?
Next one is you have Brendan. He's basically, he's dropped down.
Oh, Brendan Longhook.
Yeah.
I actually...
you were talking about him a while back.
Yeah, I tweeted him. I asked him because most of his fights have been at 145, but he's fighting at 155. I asked him if he was going to continue. He said after this fight, he's going to drop down to 145.
Okay.
And he's going up against this guy, Mike Wilkinson. It's also his debut, but that guy's on like I think
five
win streak.
Yeah, that's going to be
it's going to be a challenge at 55.
Next one is we got two debuts. Manuel Rodriguez and Ben Holloway.
Two welterweights. It's their first time fighting in the UFC. You know, what I like about the debuts is these guys want to make a name for themselves, and they don't have anything to lose. It's their debut.
They don't want to go to the decision because UFC's not forgiving on a loss in the debut unless you have a strong name that they might give you a second chance.
If you go for it.
Yeah.
Boy, this next fight,
this one is going to be, I think, fight of the night. Mike Pierce versus Seth.
Seth Baczynski.
Yep.
And Seth Baczynski's
five-wide win streak.
5-0. Big step up.
Yes.
The funny thing is, normally you would see a replacement be a guy that's lower ranked.
Yeah.
In this thing, Seth Baczynski was supposed to fight someone. He got replaced by Mike Pierce.
Much higher.
Mike
14.
Pierce is, his world ranking at welterweight is 14, and he's a beast, man.
Next one's going to be really good. Another possible fight of the night. Igor versus Joey Beltran. Remember, Joey Beltran was at he was heavyweight, dropped down to light heavyweight.
That's right.
His last he lost, of course, to James Tahuna on his debut at 205, but he says he wants to come back from that loss and just wants to make a statement.
Couple of heavy hitters. Yep. Heavyweights are always.
Now the next one's what you call
a gimme fight.
You have Chad Mendes, who's what do we got to say about him? He's a beast.
Yeah, he's like top 5.
Fighting Yeltsin Meza,
late placement, late replacement.
Short notice, which you got to give him credit. It's like them telling you, hey, you're gonna fight Vanderlei Silva. On short notice.
Yep.
So that's gonna be pretty interesting. The next one's Norman Park and Colin Fletcher.
Yeah.
Both guys are debuting. Both guys are almost on a killer win streak. Norman's on a fight win streak.
2 more lightweights. I think 5 lightweight debuts.
When they say that 155 is stacked, it's stacked.
Yep.
Next one is Robert Whitaker versus Brad Scott. Again,
More debuts.
Welterweights, which we need on the 170.
Yep, and that Brad Scott 5-fight win streak.
Yep.
Yeah.
The next one is going to be really interesting. Hector Lombard versus Paul Harris.
Yeah, are we going to see the slugger? Paul Harris, he's been knocked down.
Yeah.
But if you knock him down,
he gets right back up.
He's leg lock master.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care if you knock me down.
Because I'm going to just grab you from the bottom. Now,
lock.
I want to see how he comes back against that loss against Alan Belcher. No one messes with Paul Harris on the floor. And Belcher's like, all right, I'm game. I'll mess with you on the floor.
The thing is that I think the great thing about this is they want to see the striker come out of longboard. They want him to knock somebody out.
If he
So they're
develops
going
that
to give him a guy that he's afraid of going down.
Yeah.
He's afraid of taking down, so he's going to have to keep it. So he's going to start swinging.
He's a Pajar's guy. He's
They're both
huge.
built. They're both short and stocky.
Yeah, they're. I mean, that's why they call Pajar's toquinho. You know, tree stump.
Yeah.
And then of course the top
event, yeah.
Pearson versus Tataropoulos.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a really good fight. It's gonna go. I think it's not. I don't think it'll go to a judge. I think it'll be a finish one way or another. Surprisingly, George, he's beaten J-Lo.
Yeah, you know, that's probably
submission.
that's like his claim to fame is that he beat Kimura
Kimura, yeah.
Joe Lozon, and he's gone up against a lot of high level guys, a lot of experience. I was very impressed when I saw him in Ultimate Fighter. He was one of the guys I was rooting for the most.
Yeah, I mean, he brings it. He's not afraid to stand and bang.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do the point fighting. You know, he wants to win. So that's gonna be really good.
Ross Pearson he's been training Alliance, and those Alliance guys have been on a tear. I mean, if you haven't noticed, you know, it's Lloyd Irwin and Eric Del Ferro. Those guys are in the corner of a whole bunch of guys are winning right now.
They don't mess around.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna try and break down really quick. The ultimate finale with Roy Nelson.
Yep.
The first
Saturday night.
It's gonna be really, really good. So basically, start at the bottom. You know, we're gonna go with Jared Paprician and Tim Elliott. You know, Jared's making his flyweight
Jared
debut.
Papazian,
Papazian, yeah, Armenian.
Yep, he's a LA guy.
Yeah,
and he did very well, except that when he did lose his debut,
Dustin.
But he's dropping down to 125. He's a guy that I think he can handle the cut. I think we're going to see some success with him at 125.
I think that's his natural weight.
Yeah.
Next is Mike Real versus John Coffer.
Yeah.
Mike Real making a debut. He's coming over from another organization.
Yeah.
He's won 4 out of his last 5 fights.
Yeah.
Versus John Coffer, also a 155 affair.
Yeah, lost his last fight to Justin Lawrence. Yep.
And then the next is Hugo Viana. Now 5-fight win streak. Okay.
Yeah, Hugo Viana's coming in with some steam.
Yeah.
And
he's got a lot of Joe Rogan's mentioned that you got to watch out for this guy.
Yeah.
Then there's also Ruben Duran. You mentioned that he's out of my area.
SoCal guy.
SoCal, out of Ontario. Yep.
You know, always got to rep those guys. He's 1-1. He lost to Mizugaki. But he's a good guy. He's 1-1 in the UFC.
Then we got TJ Wahlberger versus Nick Catone.
Yeah, Nick Catone dropping down from 185. Here's his welterweight debut.
Yep.
And TJ Wahlberger he's been doing pretty good too. So
they both pretty much almost have the same record.
Yeah.
Then there's Rustam Khaliva. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, my friend.
Kabila.
Yeah, and Vince Pichel.
Yeah.
Now both making debuts. Rustam's
2 more lightweights. I'm telling you, man, there's a ton of lightweights coming in.
It's stacked.
Jeez.
Then there's Johnny Bedford versus Marcus Borges. I hope I got that right. Both pretty much same record.
Not a lot of 135ers in the UFC.
No.
So they're all pretty close too.
That's a welcome weight because it's easier to go up and down, to adjust. Okay, next we're going to go up to, let me see real quick. This is where it starts getting interesting. Mike Pyle versus James Head.
Yeah, the funny thing is they're ranked right next to each other, I think, in the UFC. Like, I think Mike Pyle's like 16 and he's 17. Yeah, and it's like, okay, who's ready to take the next step up?
And they're both coming off wins, so this is going to be really interesting.
Both in the world of 500 professional welterweights in the world, these
20.
guys are in the top 20.
Yeah.
So you can't complain about
Dustin Poirier versus Jonathan Brookins, both coming off of losses, and Jonathan,
Brookins is a guy that's kind of a wonder child.
Yeah.
I think he's been challenged. They've been putting him up against heavy.
They've been putting up some heavy guys. They're not giving him giving him no gimme fights. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The next one is going to be a slugfest. Don't blink. Melvin Gillard versus Jamie Varner.
Yeah, I mean,
I
can't see that going to the ground at all. I mean, Jamie Varner,
unless someone goes to sleep quickly.
And Melvin, you know him. He's just takedown defense guy.
Yeah.
You know, so he's just like, leave me alone. Let me slug you. He's gonna come out there throwing wild.
It's gonna be quick and violent, as they say.
Someone's getting knocked out. Yeah.
The next one, your boy Shane Del Rosario versus Pat Barry.
Yeah,
man.
I can't say enough about Shane Del Rosario. He lost his debut against Stipe Miocic, but I'll tell you, the guy had been in a coma. He had been in a car accident.
We were talking about
and
that
that was
earlier.
his first fight back. And going up against like a guy like that, I lost zero respect for him coming back after something like that. And I've been watching him train over at Team Oyama, and I got to tell you, you're about to see Shane Del Rosario the way you should see him. He is the WBC heavyweight Muay Thai champ of the world, and he's going to be putting on a clinic.
The actual height is gonna be crazy, man.
He's taller than I am. He's like 6'4".
And then Pat Barry's at 5'11" or something.
And his conditioning is very good too. So
and they're both kickboxers. You know, one's the traditional, Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Then of course
step up for him,
we have the TriStar Mike Ritchie.
Yeah.
The best dressed guy in the Ultimate Fighter finale. I'm telling you, he's really good friends. He's up there with George St. Pierre.
Yeah. You gotta figure this guy's training with Rory McDonald, GSP, all those guys over at TriStar. Hey, I say he's the favorite to win the whole thing.
You know what? And when the minute he mentioned that he was training up there with Rory McDonald, GSP, I'm like, oh, this guy, you gotta watch out for this guy. Fighting Colton Smith. That's gonna be really good.
Colton Smith's grinded out his wins. He's a bigger guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, the biggest thing he's got going for him.
But Mike Ricci, I think, has got that technique. I mean, he's really good. I mean, his fights have been really good in the Ultimate Fighter finales.
A lot of tools.
Then, of course, I'm kind of disappointed, but I still want to see this fight: Roy Nelson versus Matt Mitrione. Now, these guys were in the same Ultimate Fighter.
Which I don't think they've ever fought.
No, they didn't.
They missed one another. I don't understand why are they saying Roy Nelson saying that it's personal?
Yeah, I don't know that. I think it had to do. Well, the story is that Matt didn't want to be subjected to the random testing, the VADA random testing, and Matt says, you know what, I don't have time for that kind of stuff. What amazes me though is that I'm watching the show. Pat Barry was on Carwin's side training. I don't know why they didn't just move him up, but now hindsight thinking, of course, he's already he's already on the card with someone else, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a good fight. That I think is interesting. Is Roy going to try and take it to the ground, or are they going to stand back? And say what you say about Roy, he's got a freaking chin. Yeah. JDS couldn't take him down.
He's got great jiu-jitsu. He's got a great chin. He's got that overhand right that if it connects, forget about it. Anybody.
Forget
about it. And he's the only guy, I think, to go the distance with Dos Santos.
Yeah, exactly.
He took Dos Santos' best.
JDS says that guy, I don't know what his face is made out of because I threw everything but the kitchen sink and he still stood up. I still believe that if Roy Nelson, imagine him cut at 205.
Yeah, I think Roy's going to take this. I don't know how he's going to win, though, but I think he's going to take it.
I hope he makes a statement because, Dana White have a very loving relationship. And I think he wants to make a statement because, Roy sees a win is a win is a win. Uncle Dana's more of a, it's not so much how you win.
Yeah.
It's not just a win, it's how you win. You don't want to leave it to the judges.
Yeah.
So, all in all, we have good fights.
21 free fights. I'm cool with that, man.
I mean, I'm sorry. No, I'm not gonna make no plans. That's just me.
Right on.
Last thoughts: Roy Nelson or Matt Mitrione?
I got Nelson on this.
If he connects. He's got the tools to knock out on stand-up or submission to the ground.
I can see him connecting, but not knocking him out, taking him down, and then maybe getting some like an arm triangle choke or something.
Yeah. Remember, he did submit Frank Mir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there we go, my friends.
All right. Hey, again, we got wonderful new Twitter followers. We'll be doing shout-outs, and visit MMAthehardway.com, and happy holidays.
Thanks for the love and support, my friends.